weekend did we have here? What happened this weekend? What happened? It was almost too much for me to consume. Welcome back to the Jay Revardo Show. Okay, so we have Tesla getting hit with another protest. Jasmine Crockett being Nick Cannon and wilding out, throwing out roasting, jokey jokes. Hot Wheels. That's okay. We're not mad at her for that. Jokes is jokes, jokey jokes. We can take jokes over here. And we have Bill Maher pulling up at Donald Trump's house. Let's get into it.
He's a fascist because he is blatantly trying to dismantle democracy in the U.S.
Are you concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government?
Not particularly.
Chairwoman Green, Ranking Member Lynch, and distinguished members of the subcommittee. My name is Catherine Maher, and I'm the president and CEO of National Public Radio. I don't believe that I did read that book, sir.
Do you think that a few years ago, NPR educated America about, quote, the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts? Do you think that that's an appropriate use of tax dollars?
I was not at NPR at the time, sir.
That's not the question, though. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I think our tax dollars that we use are to be able to provide a wide range of...
I'll take that as a yes. You do believe that that's appropriate.
I put out a statement regarding that. You didn't apologize. I put out a statement. Why would I apologize when I put out a statement? My statement was clear.
But you didn't apologize for calling him Governor Miles when he gets around in a wheelchair.
I don't know how that's offensive.
I don't about making fun of someone.
I'm done.
Control over comments she made about Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on.
Let me ask you this. Last question. You're going to meet with the president.
I am?
All right, let's start with Tesla. Over the weekend, protesters made headlines all over the place, especially on the Faulkner Focus. Let's watch.
Isn't it supposed to be the party that they claim to be the party of empathy, and yet they're burning Teslas and shooting up dealerships and calling for the death of the president and me?
Calling for those deaths. Illegal. Elon Musk and others are also questioning the alleged grassroots origins of these demonstrations, given the fact that they are well organized and apparently pretty well funded.
He's a fascist because he is blatantly trying to dismantle democracy in the U.S.
Are you concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government?
Not particularly.
Have you been on the Doge website to look at some of the waste, fraud, and abuse that they're trying to cut out?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't believe anything they would put out.
Despite the resistance, the Department of Government Efficiency continues its mission to cut wasteful spending. Elon Musk is headed to the Central Intelligence Agency today to meet with Director John Ratcliffe. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy now. Peter.
And Harris, historically, the CIA press shop only deals with things that are so secret they say nothing about anything. But they did give us a statement about this meeting today. They say Director Ratcliffe has invited Elon Musk to meet with him at the agency to discuss government efficiency. That is as former spies are watching this CIA sit down very carefully.
This doesn't represent your party well.
No, it doesn't represent anybody well. Vandalism is vandalism.
It's more than that,
and
though.
Not a particular.
It's
not
more
a
than
particularly
vandalism.
Good way to lodge a protest. I got to throw this in here, Harris, and you may not like it, but I got to say, if the White House wants to come down on these people, as well they should, then they ought to be a little more sensitive to the amount of law breaking they are doing and get that under control. It'll put them in a much better place to criticize these
So
lawbreakers.
wait a minute. Are you saying that Republicans are doing anything and that the White House is doing anything like blowing up cars, ruining jobs for people who work at those mostly private-owned dealerships?
All right, hold on. Let me get it straight really quickly, guys. Okay, so the guy who made electric cars cool is now the villain. He's now the enemy because the Democrats want control or they have control issues? Or is it that the environment never really mattered and this is just another Democrat example or display of lunacy? It's funny because the Democrats can unite to go above and beyond and fight for all type of things and all type of Trinidad rights to come into America and carry out malicious attacks on American citizens. That might be what they're good at. also what they're good at is hypocrisy. Because you can't be on one hand loving the environment and the other hand hating the guy who makes the environment better for you, as so you said. But yeah, all right, so NPR News. I don't know how many people used to listen to it in the car driving to work, or their grandmother or mother was playing NPR News. How about this? How about they just got exposed? The CEO was on the stand, so to speak, in the courtroom for being biased. They have, 87 Democrats and 1 Republican? They didn't put out the story on COVID? What? On Hunter Biden? Why you didn't run it? Why didn't you run that story? Why didn't you play the story of the actual truth on the COVID virus? It was leaked out of the lab. These are facts, NPR, PBS. So we're not going to spend our taxpayer money any longer on those networks because you guys are liars and you're biased. You're not giving us any non-biased information. Matter of fact, you're not even running the information that's valid and that is important to the taxpayers. What? We have to figure some things out. You know what I'm saying? We have to figure some things out here. Because hypocrisy is high. Lunacy is high on the liberal side. Trump derangement syndrome, I think the only person who's pretending like they don't have Trump derangement syndrome is Bill Maher. I said pretending.
Agree with that, sir.
You're not. That's good to hear. It's interesting because a lot of your thinking, as expressed by your public statements, is deeply infused with economic and cultural Marxism. Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
Oh wow, suddenly NPR stands for not possibly real, 'cause this answer ain't even close to the truth.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I'd no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't? You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. How white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I have never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone to pay reparations.
Seems to be what you're suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe it's morally wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being illegal.
You tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my
You
time at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did read that book, sir.
do you think that a few years ago, NPR educated America about, quote, the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts? Do you think that that's an appropriate use of tax dollars?
I was not at NPR at the time, sir.
That's not the question, though. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I think our tax dollars that we use are to be able to provide a wide range of
I'll take that as a yes. You do believe that that's appropriate. Your health advisor at NPR also stated in an interview that, quote, fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat. Would you like to explain how fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat? That's an editorial at NPR.
I am not familiar with the editorial, and I don't believe that was published during my time here.
It's called Diet Culture is Everywhere. Here's how to fight it. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I think any reporting on health is an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars, yes.
And you think that editorializing that fat is not unhealthy is appropriate?
I don't know what that article is, sir, and I'm not familiar with it, so I couldn't say.
This is fake news. Do you think that basic accommodations like doorways or seat belts represent, quote, latent fat phobia?
I don't have an opinion.
It's also from NPR. Do you think civility is racist?
No, sir.
No. Your outlet ran an article entitled, quote, when civility is used as a cudgel against people of color. That was on All Things Considered. Would you like to explain?
I'm not on the editorial side, sir. I'm not familiar with that story.
You talk about how NPR is news. This is editorialization, and I'll read it. For many people of color in the United States, civility isn't so much social lubricant as it is a vehicle for containing them, preventing social mobility, and preserving the status quo. This is garbage. I'll spend all of my time doing everything I can to ensure you guys never get another dollar of taxpayer funding. This is complete garbage.
Okay, all right, so the only thing that's more biased than NPR News or PBS is a CNN fact checker, okay? All right, because they've been spinning the narrative on the Hunter Biden's laptop situation or hoax with taxpayer money. So, once again, like I stated before, we're paying, patriots across America, we're paying for false information. Also, we're paying for a lot of other things that we don't want to talk about right now. But you know the deal. For the most unexpected meetup or team up in history, other than Kanye West and Kurt Franklin, it's Bill Maher and Donald J.
Talk about. Let me ask you this. Last question. You're going to meet with the president.
I am.
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
Maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credentials. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, you know, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from
all the beef and strenuous static that they had in between each other, Bill Maher is now going to meet with Trump. He's going to casually stroll on into the White House without any pause.
From the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I get to go to the White House And yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just let's talk. Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000 miles away, So if they expect me to be leaving in a MAGA hat, they're going to be very disappointed, but I know they don't. And I think it's going to be, look, it probably will accomplish very little, but you got to try, man. You got to try.
He's been cooking the left so long, he about to stop by and ask what's on the menu, baby. And now, Jasmine Crockett. Who needs policy when you have punchlines?
Someone I know is in a wheelchair calling her Governor Hot Wheels.
Control over comments she made about Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
In a social media firestorm, Crockett accused of mocking Abbott's use of a wheelchair during a speech at a human rights campaign event. House Speaker Mike Johnson blasting that remark as, quote, shameful and outrageous.
Is another day and another disaster by the Democrats.
The Texas governor, who was paralyzed more than 40 years ago when a tree fell on him during a run, responding on Fox News last night.
The reality is they have no vision, no policy. They have nothing to sell but hate.
President Trump also weighing in on a conservative online talk show.
She's a lowlife, and she's a very low IQ person and a lowlife.
Did she say Hot Wheels? Like she roasting somebody at a cookout? This isn't Congress. This is Love and Hip Hop on Capitol Hill. Jasmine, she needs policy. She needs policy. Someone needs to sit her down really quickly and say, listen, Jasmine, I understand that you feel like the ghetto queen of Capitol Hill. But sometimes you have to understand that it's a time and a place for every freaking thing. You lunatic! You're a goofy. There's a time and there's a place. You're not Donald Trump. You don't know how to suave the finesse. That joke was out of place and out of pocket. Crockett. She got more bars than a rap star.
You get one, you get one. Man, I smack them things up like divorce papers. Nah, Hitman, stop this. That I ain't stopping. I'm popping clicks, blast off. Rocket shell. Slap shot. Hockey stick. Cock the fifth, put your hand on stage, and now give it a soccer kick.
It's not a rap battle. You're on Capitol Hill. Relax. The weave and your mouth. Relax both of them. Relax the weave first, though, because that's crazy. But let me get it straight really quickly. So Tulsa is the enemy. Jasmine Crockett is Cardi B. Bill Maher is sipping tea with the president. They had Drake and Kendrick beef. We are living in a reality TV show right now. Who is writing the script? They need help because this is all over the place. Bill Maher, Donald Trump, Jasmine Crockett is a rap artist. We got the protesters that never, ever, ever would have protested the environment. But somehow they are now, well, they're at least protesting the car that makes the environment a little bit more safe. Relax! Jeez. All right, so if you like this breakdown, first of all, please share it with someone who's still watching MSNBC like it's the gospel. Like the video, and then make a comment. That's all you gotta do. It's that simple. Please like the video. Please, we need that. And subscribe if you want to see more. This is a Jay Revardo Show. We do not spin it all. We expose and tell the truth. And as always, be vigilant. Be strong. I love you. And you know I do.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am?